Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today it is official. Bill Belichick is going to college. Bill Belichick and North Carolina have agreed on a deal for him to be the next head coach at the University of North Carolina. In this video here today, I'm going to kind of tell you guys how it happened, the motivations on each side, and then I'm going to give you kind of my position where I think I'm actually kind of in the minority on this, where I actually think this is a good move and that this could really work for North Carolina and they could have a lot of success with Bill Belichick being their next head coach. So to kind of basically tell you guys how this happened, basically I'll go ahead and just show you guys the tweet here. So this is from the guy that originally broke the story that Bill Belichick agreed to be the head coach, Ollie Connolly. And basically we went over this yesterday, and I said I'd do a follow-up if he got hired. So basically, here's the original report. I'll show you that, top of the screen. Update, Bill Belichick has agreed to become the next North Carolina head coach. Bill Belichick handed the school a 400-page Bible with structure, payment plans, staffing choices, etc., decisions on whether to commit with UNC. He's expected to know their decision within 24 hours. So that was Tuesday. And then he cleared that up because if you look at the wording on that, it's like, wait, he agreed to be the head coach, but they need to make a decision. So it was kind of clunky wording, and he kind of clears that up here. So this is basically the most broad way I can describe to you guys how this happened. I understand the wording of this was clunky, and that's because this is the strangest coaching situation search I've seen / covered. Bill Belichick was not offered the job. He presented a plan, a job, and agreed he would take it if UNC matched. They did. So that's basically what happened there. Bill Belichick comes to them with a plan and is like, hey, I'll be your head coach, but you have to do all of this stuff for me. Here are my demands, basically. And North Carolina molded over and they said, yeah, let's do it. So that's basically what happened. Um, I want to say this part because we went over this yesterday, and basically my opinion yesterday was that I didn't think it was going to happen. And we went over the reasons why. I thought Bill Belichick was kind of getting his name back out in the media for basically, NFL owners to look at that and be like, oh, okay, maybe when we're looking at our next NFL head coaching search, we put Bill Belichick on the board and go for that. So it was maybe kind of posturing with NFL teams like, hey, I still want to coach in the NFL, which I still think he does. And we'll get to that here in a minute. So I thought it was that, and I thought North Carolina on their side was maybe doing some public negotiating where they had another candidate in mind, but they were flirting with Belichick to maybe make that guy, take a lesser salary or something in their negotiation with that, or maybe commit faster. But clearly, as we are here today, Bill Belichick's the next head coach of North Carolina. Why this happened? I think from the Bill Belichick side, I think Bill Belichick saw the writing on the wall, or he was incredibly worried that come this next NFL head coaching cycle, he would not get a job. And if he didn't get a job this cycle, his coaching career is over. And versus if he's the head coach at North Carolina, let's say they have 1 or 2 good years of success, maybe an NFL team comes hollering and says, hey, Bill, we see what you're doing at North Carolina. We love it. You still have your fastball. Come over here to the Jaguars or wherever to be our next head coach. Okay. So I think that is why Bill took it, because I don't think he had any other options. But if Bill Belichick was going to do it, he wanted to do it his way because he wanted to be successful. And that's why he made his Bible. The North Carolina side of this, I genuinely think North Carolina's top options, their typical college football options, all said no, because it was reported that they had discussions with like my head coach Matt Campbell, which I didn't think was going to happen. I think Matt Campbell was maybe using that as leverage to get an extension, which he did today. And then also John Summerall, the Tulane coach, also signed an extension earlier this week. So I think their top options all kind of dried up, and versus kind of rolling the dice on like some regular G5 coach or whatever, that why not get the greatest coach of all time, make it a splashy hire. And according to the reporting from Inside Carolina, a lot of the people were really blown away by the Bible that Bill Belichick gave them, and that was a huge reason why they hired him, because they thought it was a really good plan to have a successful football team. Okay. So let's talk about will this be a good hire? Because I have been seeing people online, or excuse me, not online, but on TV today, talking about Bill Belichick, talking about him being the head coach in North Carolina, and they're like, this won't work. Bill Belichick can't recruit. His mantra of the Patriot way and how he would talk to players and how he would get players to come to his school, that wouldn't work in college. The people that have been saying that, I swear they have only read the headlines of the reporting of this, and they haven't actually went and done the footwork like me and read all of the reporting on this from the people that were breaking the stories and the specifics of what Bill Belichick's actual role would be at North Carolina. I'm here to break the news to you guys. Bill Belichick, if he's going to be doing any recruiting at North Carolina, he is going to be basically, from my reading of it, kind of be a closer. He's not going to be, breaking down all this recruiting tape. He's not going to be going to high school games on Friday nights. He's not going to be, making um, a bunch of like home visits to recruits. He might do some. He might, have some conversations with players and whatnot. But for the most part, as was reported, and I'll go ahead and show you guys this one. Which one is it? Make sure I pull up the right one. Um, okay, yeah, this is the right one. So this right here was reported yesterday. Any potential staff would include Matt Patricia, Ben Daniels, Ben McDaniels, who's Josh McDaniels' brother, as well as a sitting college GM who would handle general operations, NIL, and recruiting. So what does that mean there, guys? It means Bill Belichick in his plan was basically like, hey, we're going to have like an entire recruiting staff that is going to be handling NIL, that's going to be handling recruiting. So I'm not going to be negotiating NIL deals with people. I'm not going to be doing a lot of this recruiting. We're basically going to trust a college GM and college scouts to help us build our roster. And basically, based off the other reporting that I saw a report too today that North Carolina is going to be increasing their football NIL budget from 4 million to 20 million. So they're upping that 500%. So basically, North Carolina is, if you're just talking about the landscape of the ACC, as far as building a roster from, a financial standpoint, they're going to be able to outbid most ACC schools. Maybe the other ones that they wouldn't be able to outbid would be like Miami and Clemson, probably. And I'm not sure the specifics on like SMU or some of the other ones too, but it seems like uh, Miami, Clemson would be the only ones that would basically probably be able to outbid them on a lot of the stuff, which kind of in the world of college football, you have to look at your conference. And if you're spending more than 90% of your conference, you're in a pretty good shape, especially in the ACC when the kind of the margins between the teams aren't that much, right? So that's part of it. Another part of this here too, um, kind of give you more info on what is going on here. So let's see. As we just alluded to, Bill Belichick's Bible would require historic levels of investment from the school, include salary minimums, position by position, and a willingness to hire two staffs, a college staff run by Belichick, a recruiting staff run by a sitting college GM, who would require a buyout. Okay, so basically, guys, as I'm telling you here, Bill Belichick's not going to be doing a lot of the recruiting stuff. Bill Belichick is going to be doing in a way, it's kind of like what Chip Kelly agreed to do at Ohio State and what Gus Malzahn just agreed to do at Florida State, where basically like, hey, I'm tired of handling all of that like recruiting nonsense and NIL and doing all of these visits. I just want to be a football coach. And that's why Chip Kelly left UCLA to go to Ohio State, where Ryan Day and the rest of Ohio State's can do all that recruiting stuff. Chip Kelly's just his whole job's the offense. Same thing with Gus Malzahn going to Florida State now. His whole job is the offense, making that flow. Bill Belichick obviously has a lot more power than those guys and is able to make, um, throw around his weight and leverage to have it set up here. But basically, that's what Bill's going to be doing here. He's only going to be focused on the team and, you know, the just the X's and O's and practice and player development. That's all Bill is going to be focused on. He's not going to have to worry about going to games on, high school games on Friday night. He's not going to have to worry about going on 100 visits a year to try and get, a 3-star defensive end or something like that. He's going to have other people taking care of that stuff, which was kind of the criticism of Bill his last years in New England, where he did have roster control and he did a bad job of it. So the fact that that stuff is being taken care of, and you're just telling me Bill Belichick, with the money and the resources that North Carolina is going to use, where they're going to be having a better roster probably than 80% of teams they're going to be playing in the ACC and non-con, and Bill Belichick's going to be able to, because if you watch enough college, sometimes it is just which team screws up more. And that was always kind of like the beautiful thing about the Patriots was like they wouldn't lose the game. You would have to beat the Patriots. They wouldn't, hurt themselves. They wouldn't kill themselves. They were a team that was always just very fine-tuned, and they wouldn't shoot themselves in the foot. And if you're telling me Bill Belichick with a team better than 90% of teams they're going to be playing isn't going to shoot themselves in the foot, I think this is going to be very successful. I think Bill Belichick is going to hit the ground running. I think he's going to have at least a good year or two. And who knows? Who knows if he is going to, this is kind of the unanswerable question, is they're obviously from the reporting too. If you guys didn't know this, the reporting too was that Bill Belichick, as part of this, which is another reason why I didn't think it was going to happen, said, "Hey, you hire me. I have a succession plan," which I think was also a selling point of the job. I have a succession plan. My son, Steven Belichick, will be the head coach in waiting because obviously I'm 72 years old. I'm not going to be here for the next 15 years. And that's kind of the criticism of firing Mac Brown and getting Bill Belichick was, hey, you fired Mac, who's 72, and then you hire Bill Belichick, who's 8 months younger than him. But the difference between Mac and Bill was like Mac didn't have a succession plan. Mac kind of had to fight this uphill battle his entire time, this second stint at North Carolina, basically trying to convince people like, hey, I'm going to be here forever. I'm going to be here. I'm not close to retiring. Versus like Bill, it's like, oh, I might retire. I might go to the NFL. But hey, we have a succession plan here where my son will take over. We're still going to have the NIL investment. We're still going to have the same coaching staff. We're still going to have the same recruiting staff. And we're going to basically, if Bill Belichick does leave after 1 year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever, we have a coach in waiting that is basically just the captain of the ship is going to change and not the entire ship is going to change, if that makes sense. Maybe that's not the best analogy. So yeah, that's basically it. I think this will be successful because I think Bill Belichick still can coach X's and O's. And if you're telling me that he's got other people that take care of recruiting and NIL and all that stuff, and he's not going to be doing as much of that as like, Jim Harbaugh was at Michigan, I like it. I really like the move because, again, too, for people being like, oh, what are you talking about? He's not going to be doing that much recruiting. Deion doesn't recruit at Colorado. He's went on 0 college recruiting visits since he got to Colorado, which is actually my criticism of Deion at Colorado, because I think if he did buy in and recruit like the big name coaches around the country, I do think he could get top 10 classes at Colorado like that. And that's my criticism of Deion, is that he doesn't do that, even though I still think that he is a good head coach. But I'll digress from my Deion point right there. So yeah, I like it. I like it. I know it seems confusing. I know it seems weird, but can you imagine Bill Belichick with a like he's gonna win games. He's gonna win games. How long will it last? I don't know. But if you give him the players, I like his chances. And I think that's what North Carolina is prepared to do. And that's what Bill Belichick wanted when he gave them his manifesto. So there you have it. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think Bill Belichick will be a successful head coach at North Carolina? How long do you think he will be there? And I will leave this caveat. His son Steven being a head coach after him, though, I don't know if he'll be good. Even though I actually think he is a good defensive coordinator. He was pretty good at Washington this year. So again, leave your comments on what you think. Thank you for watching. If you got to this point, please hit that like button. hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. That is the number one thing that you can do to help support a small channel like this and help us grow. And it costs you absolutely $0. Feel free to leave a tip. I think I have tips set up now if you really like this video. So thank you very much for watching, and check out other videos on the Sports Detective podcast channel page. And we'll talk to you next time.